And straight away we have some breaking news that is coming in from Kashmir. Section 144 is now set to be eased for the Friday Eid prayers in parts of Kashmir. However, restrictions are set to remain in some sensitive areas. That's what we understand this point in time, and the story that's breaking on your screens as we speak. Restrictions to remain in sensitive areas. However, it is set to be eased. Section 144. The curfew under Section 144 is set to be eased for Friday Eid prayers in some parts of Kashmir. That's the latest news alert coming in from the situation in Kashmir. It's day 5 of the lockdown in Kashmir, and so far things have remained calm. The security forces have maintained that the situation is under control, and we do understand that the restriction will be for a few days only. Keep in mind, there's also talk of the relaxation of the restrictions for the upcoming Eid festival on the 12th of August. And now we understand that these restrictions are set to be eased. We're yet to get details on how exactly this is going to be done, but we do understand that this is keeping in mind the Eid festival that is coming up on the 12th of August. Keep in mind, over 40,000 troops were freshly deployed to Jammu and Kashmir ahead of the abrogation of Article 370 and Article 35A. It's been 5 days of it. This is the 5th day. There were questions on whether restrictions will be eased for the Friday prayers today. But now we understand that there might be some sort of easing ahead of the Eid festival on the 12th of August. And that doesn't mean anything else changes. Troops are set to remain. The heavy deployment in Jammu and Kashmir of Indian security forces will continue to remain. No changes on that front. The restrictions will stay on in full force in sensitive areas as well. But the latest news that's coming in is that Section 144, under which curfew is imposed in Jammu and Kashmir, is set to be eased ahead of the Eid festival. That is set to take place on the 12th of August. Authorities have been working hard to deal with the lockdown situation, making sure daily necessities and provisions and supplies are available to the common people of Jammu and Kashmir, even as they keep a tight vigil on the situation, on the law and order situation in the Union Territory of Jammu and Kashmir. We have our principal diplomatic correspondent, Siddhant Sibal, now joining us on the phone line with more details. Siddhant, talk to us. Section 144 set to be eased ahead of the Eid festival on the 12th of August.
Well, yes, sir. The authorities have decided to make sure that there is certain relaxation, that people can go out ahead of Eid, and of course the restriction on the Section 144 will be eased today for the Friday prayers. And we also know that there is no curfew. It's only Section 144, which is of course loosely imposed, given the fact that the government plans to make sure that they ease for the people. But of course, in certain places, such as in downtown Srinagar, they have made sure that it's still imposed, given the fact that situation can turn volatile there. But by and large, if you look at the government's policy after the decision of removing the special status for Jammu and Kashmir on Monday, there was fear that there can be protests, and of course Pakistan can use these developments in the Union Territory for its own propaganda, and that is why the government had to enforce strict CRPF. And of course, we saw that there was no internet connection. The broadband was also disconnected, and of course, the landlines were also not working. But slowly, but surely, life is coming back in Srinagar and, of course, the entire Union Territory. We do expect in 15 days from now, or perhaps in 20 days from now, there will be complete removal of the orders which were imposed by the government. We also know that the authorities there are making sure that people were not able to speak to their near and dear ones in the Union Territory or outside the Union Territory. Many of the Kashmiris living here, Kashmiri students living here, they can't speak. They can easily speak. They have designated a special number regarding that. And also we know that government, the Ministry of Home Affairs has issued orders. So the Kashmiri students across the country feel safe. There is no backlash. So number of measures announced so that there is no fallout, or maybe the negative elements in the Union Territory may exploit the conditions. So that is why these orders were imposed. But slowly these orders are being removed. We also know that approximately 500 people who might create trouble in the state have been taken out from the state and have been sent to Agra. So these are the steps taken as a precautionary measures.
Precautionary measures. Siddhant Sibal, our principal diplomatic correspondent, joining us on the phone line with those details. Siddhant, even as we take this news and digest it, there was talk about easing of restrictions for today's Friday prayers as well as the upcoming Eid festival. At that we did have a senior official from the Indian government mentioned specifically that the restrictions are meant to stay on for a few days only, because the Indian government at the end of the day is optimistic. The situation is calm and is under control.
Well, these measures were only imposed for certain days, and these were precautionary measures so that there is no untoward incident. But we now know that curfew will be the CRPF will be eased for the Friday prayers, and we also heard the Prime Minister's statement late yesterday night when he talked about how the Indian decision, the rationale of Indian decisions, that the Indian government's decision that this will spur economic growth, socio-economic growth in the state, especially in the Union Territory of Ladakh. He also assured that the decision on the Union Territory of Jammu and Kashmir may be reversed, but as of now it remains. But on the decision of Union Territory of Ladakh, it will be a permanent decision, given the fact that that part of the erstwhile state of Jammu and Kashmir has always suffered. It has remained backward because largely the focus has always been in the valley. And now, given the fact that the government has taken this decision of bifurcation of the state, that will now spur growth in the Union Territory. But by and large, if you look at the measures imposed, it's measures imposed only in the Union Territory of Jammu and Kashmir, not in Ladakh. Only in few places in Ladakh they were imposed, but now also they have been removed. So by and large, there is the situation is coming back to normal as the day passed. And of course, we have seen in the last few days there haven't been any major law and order issue in both the Union Territories, primarily because of the decisions taken by Delhi, precautionary decisions taken by Delhi ahead of the big decision that was announced by the Indian government on Monday. The bill was passed, of course, we know, on Tuesday, paving way for the historic decision to bifurcate the state, but also as measures to improve the socio-economic development of both the Union Territories.
Siddhant Sibal joining us on the phone line with those details. Thank you, Siddhant.